Hello, hello. So before we go any further into the Idaho readings, I just wanted to make sure that I gave the best explanation possible for exactly why I'm doing things the way I am and what I hope to achieve by that. So I put together this little visual and I hope that this is helpful. So essentially, this big puzzle in the middle that you see on the screen is representing what happened and why. So that puzzle, once what happened, it became that white blank puzzle up in the corner. So it still happened. We just can't see exactly why or how, right? So now we're going to go to the next slide. So we're able to see the whole puzzle. What happens. We can no longer see the puzzle, and now the puzzle is in pieces, which is what we see here. Basically, these pieces of the puzzle are being represented by each individual Idaho reading that I've done. So imagine all of those readings, which are in this playlist here, all of those readings are this puzzle, this pile of puzzle pieces. So all of the individual readings, before I even had this plan in motion, all of those readings were throwing pieces of the puzzle into this pile. You'll notice that this is not, excuse me, this is not a blank puzzle. We can see the pictures on this puzzle, right? That's important because we're putting together pieces of the picture one at a time into this pile. Now, the next step of this process, after we've gone through all the readings, we now have all of these puzzle pieces in this giant pile. This is where that north, south, east, west dice comes in, and we separate the puzzle pieces. So essentially, we're saying with that die, with the die that, okay, this puzzle piece goes in this pile over here. This puzzle piece goes in this pile over here. That was that step. So that step, if you go in the Dropbox link, if you go to the link tree, it'll take you to the Dropbox. And in the Dropbox link, you can see up here, there is step 1, which is video outlines. And that is those puzzle pieces. And then the Idaho statement list is essentially where we begin to put everything into an organized list. And that list is what we then separate into these different piles. So after everything is separated into the different piles, then we go back into each individual pile and we start to put the puzzle together. So essentially, north represents one corner of the puzzle. Once we have all of those pieces put together in that category, that puzzle goes from being blank white to showing us the picture that it's trying to put together. So we take a section, for example, we take north, and we go through each line of north and do what's shown in these pictures, putting those pieces together. By doing that, we're creating a section of the puzzle that we can then see. It's not that blank white puzzle anymore. It becomes that picture puzzle where we can see what's going on. That is the step that is accomplished through this directional part of the reading. So the actual north, south, east, west isn't as important as these things go together in this corner. And when we figure out how they all work together, it allows us to see that section of the puzzle. So essentially we start up here in the top left corner. That is the whole puzzle. What happens, and now we're looking at the situation from the outside in. So it's still that big puzzle, but it's white. We can't see what the picture is. In order to find out what that picture is, we need to take it apart, figure out what each individual puzzle piece is showing, and then put it back together. And that will give us the energetic picture of what happened. So we start in the top left, we have the full picture. What happens with the murders happen, and it becomes that middle top white picture. It's still the same puzzle, but we can't see what the picture is. Then we take each piece apart and we look at it individually and put it into that pile, which is right above me on the top right. After that, we have all these pieces in a pile. They each have a piece of the puzzle visible, but we can't see what they mean until we get them all together. So then we travel down to the bottom left, which is where we take that pile of puzzles and we see, okay, this goes in the top right of the puzzle. This goes in the top left of the puzzle. This goes in the middle of the puzzle. We're putting together pieces of the puzzle, and then we're going to put those pieces together. So we're essentially assembling an energetic puzzle that doesn't reveal to us the picture until we get enough of it together that it comes from that white blank puzzle and it transfers or transforms into the picture that we can clearly see. So I hope that this helps to explain. I think it's very important that you understand what I feel that I'm doing with the puzzle pieces, because that'll help it make sense, the process that I've decided to take this on. So essentially, we are taking a puzzle, and it's not our puzzle, right? It's someone else's puzzle. So we can't have access to that puzzle unless we figure out ourselves what that puzzle is showing. And the way to do that is to completely take the puzzle apart, figure out each piece individually, and then piece that blank white puzzle back together. But once it's all back together, it will show us the clear picture. Again, I hope this was helpful. I've been working on this for a little bit, trying to figure out how to convey to you exactly what's in my brain. I'm hopeful this does it, but if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask.